Sonic.EXE The Disaster is a Roblox game that was pretty popular in the EXE community. That was until something happened. For reasons nobody is sure of, the original Disaster was taken off Roblox. Outlake, the previous owner, decided to step away from the project after this had happened. I mean, after all, he spent years updating and working on a game that didn't have any in-game purchases and was just a fun fan project that people have grown to love. After it's taken down, what else can you do? And the EXE community was in outrage. People were saying that Sega did it or another team did it, but even to this day, we don't fully know if it was a fake Sega account or anything like that. And I'm not here to tell you what it is because honestly, I have no idea. I won't comment too much on it as I'm not super knowledgeable in the situation, but I do know that I like the game. I can only imagine what it's like for a project you've worked so long on to suddenly be taken away. The Disaster even spawned a 2D version of the game that's completely different to the original and is loved by the Sonic horror community. Development for the game goes all the way back to 2020. It was worked on until 2024. A few dedicated fans decided to recreate the game, and in the future, planned to add new EXEs and characters to the gameplay, along with new outfits for those same survivors. This game is Sonic.EXE The Disaster Reborn. Let it be known that this is a fan project and that the team who worked on this mostly consists of 16-year-olds who are passionate about it. The reason I mention that is because they don't make any money off of it, and a lot of people have criticized this game. Upon its release, it was a buggy mess, and now it has some bugs you can work through, but they worked on it for us to have something. They're a couple of teens. I'm not saying you can't criticize the game. It's good to offer criticism that's healthy, but just keep that in mind when you're playing it. I've seen way too many harsh comments. I'd also like to say that the code wasn't stolen, at least not to my knowledge. When I was researching this, it was debunked and said that they made it from the ground up, but with that out of the way, has the Disaster Reborn changed anything from the original? What new things will they be adding? Well, I'm going to try my best to answer all of these questions, along with provide my own thoughts on the game. This also may serve as a guide to those of you who are wanting to get into the game and you want to know what each one of the characters do without, reading their abilities. So let's start with what EXEs to expect in the future, current EXEs, then the survivors, and general gameplay. For now, the three that were featured in the Disaster are the ones who are currently featured in the remake, those being Sonic.EXE, Tails Doll, and Colossus. In the future, they're wanting to add Furnace, EXE, otherwise known as Faker, and Sonic Rewrite. A lot of people have been saying that Sonic Rewrite was scrapped from the game, but this actually isn't true. He'll be added in the 1.4 update, along with the other EXEs. Each EXE will have a skin that will turn them into something different. I'll go over those when they come out. When update 1.4 comes out, it won't be all at once, rather updated gradually, but it will add a lot of new things. This is where the main difference between the remake and the original comes in. But for now, it's pretty faithful to the original. I will say that for those curious on if Fleetway or Majin would be added, they are only adding EXEs, or what classifies as an EXE, and anything else that was added like Tails Doll was just added because it was in the original game. So that's kind of the rule that they're kind of following. We also don't know really anything about the new characters' abilities yet. The only thing we have is their renders and speculation as to what they could be doing. Furnace will likely have some sort of fire ability, or grab someone and cook them or something, and maybe have the ability to fly similar to Tails Doll, but we don't know for sure. Each EXE will have a chase theme like the others, and I was able to get access to Furnace's chase theme, and I gotta say, it's a banger. way, I asked permission and Devilish said I could share it, so don't tell the other devs of the game. They might not know, so let's just keep it between us, okay? All right, thanks. It's also worth mentioning that Devilish has just told me that this is a new official version of Furnace, so I will be calling this character The Starved. It's definitely my idea, and I didn't just take that from Devilish. Sonic Rewrite might have the ability to shapeshift, though it's unclear. It would be cool to see him shapeshift into other survivors. Quite frankly, I'm just excited to see Rewrite in this game, and he'll get his various forms from the FNF Sonic Round 2 mod. The one thing I wanted to say was how faithful these stay to the original style while also offering something new. EXE will have one unique ability where his beast form is implemented into his gameplay. I'm not sure how it will work, but it already has a model. It goes away from the disaster art style and looks pretty good. There's a lot of stuff to expect from this game and new things that I'll be excited to see. So let's take a look at what EXEs we have currently available, shall we? Starting with the classic Sonic.EXE. Since my last video, I've learned a little bit more about this game. I wouldn't say too much, but a little. As far as gameplay and looks go, this game isn't too different from the original. So far, it's been a pretty good recreation, and though it had a bit of a bumpy start, it seems to have been fixed pretty well. Much like in the original, Sonic.EXE has a few abilities to keep your victims guessing. This guy primarily is used for tricking people or catching them off guard with your speed. He has his basic attack where he slaps them and does 45 damage to your health. If you hold the button, he will actually hold that ability to release at the right time. And after you hit someone or get them down, you can laugh at them. This doesn't have any sort of effect, but it might be effective at pissing off the person you killed. Teleport allows you to place down 3 little checkpoints. Each one correlates to a number. You can place these teleporters anywhere on the map, and by pressing it, you go to the spot where you left that specific number. So if you put down 1 teleport and I press the 1 key, that's where I would go. If you forget where you placed it, you can vaguely see where they were placed and go back to them. This is helpful for psyching out the survivors because they don't really know where you'll teleport until you do it. And you can combine this ability with others as well. Invisibility is one that can work with it if timed well. Once activated, he becomes, well, invisible. While using the ability, he moves much faster and gets all survivors' locations marked. Once the ability wears off, he turns to normal, or he can also deactivate the ability at any moment. You could use this ability with both the teleport and the decoy ability, which can only be used while you're invisible. He creates 4 decoys of himself that might trick someone at first glance, but you can kind of tell that it's a decoy, so it stops being effective pretty fast. These abilities are likely inspired off the original Crimson.EXE game, and just the general personality of Sonic.EXE. He's a trickster, very deceptive, and that's what he is here. He also has a spin dash ability. During this, he will be able to charge up momentum by mashing the jump button. Coming into contact with a survivor during the spin dash deals 5 damage, though Sonic.EXE can also hit the same survivor multiple times. After 5 seconds, the ability deactivates. This guy has pretty good mobility, but I found his toolkit to be overwhelming at first, and I think there's a bit of a learning curve to this character. Not much has changed since the original from what I found. He does have a perk that allows him to climb ladders other survivors can't see, but that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the killer unique to this game and an icon amongst the community. Colossus, a bulkier counterpart to Sonic.EXE, and I believe was created for this game specifically. In my other video, I mentioned I couldn't find lore, but since then, I discovered that there may be a reason why he looks this way. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Colossus is a failed Eggman experiment. He looks as if spare parts were placed together and something went wrong. That, or he's just a mutated Sonic.EXE of his timeline. Regardless, he's pretty cool. If you're going for a somewhat slow but hard hitter with a big hitbox, this is probably your guy. I say somewhat because he does have some pretty mobile moves, though they don't last very long. His hit ability does the most upfront damage out of all the EXEs so far, dealing 65 damage. Though, if you're hit by this, you get a speed boost and iframes to give the survivors a fighting chance. Colossus may be a hard hitter, but some of his hitbox are difficult to land, which that could just be being a skill issue. His normal attack has the biggest hitbox out of the EXEs, I believe, though his grab ability is a little harder to land, and once he does, he could just pummel you until your teammates come to save you. There have been a few times where this guy has grabbed me and pummeled me to death, but that's partially my fault for running around the map aimlessly and being away from my team. Each attack does small damage, but that adds up pretty quickly. Colossus also can't jump and walks really slow in this state. His other ability is honestly my favorite, as he screams and charges at someone. He can't move directions when you activate this ability, so you gotta be sure you're gonna hit someone. But man, it's satisfying when you do. Only deals 25, but that's all you need to jump scare someone, really. His other abilities are Block and Indicate. Indicate reveals where survivors are, and Block allows him to not be knocked back or affected by someone's move. You can't attack while in Block, however, you can bait someone's ability out, block it, then do a charge or something once you know they used up all their abilities. Then you can laugh at them, as every EXE has one. I prefer a more mobile and fast killer, but this guy is still fun and does a lot of damage in the right hands. If you run into a Colossus, you have to watch your health, because this guy can deplete it fast. Though, here's a fun fact for those who don't know. Colossus used to look like this. I think it was meant to be a more modern Sonic.EXE, as in modern Sonic, but this was changed because that got really confusing and the EXE community didn't really like that. At least that's just my guess. But I am glad this is what Outlight came up with for Colossus, because I really like this new approach. Now, on to Tails doll. Ah yes, everyone's favorite soulless doll. Originating from Sonic.EXE in the comics, this thing has always been creepy, and after some time, a creepypasta was made. That's the one that this thing was inspired from, and it's probably my favorite to play. His normal attack does 40 damage, which isn't bad, but that's not where this guy shines. Tails doll floats. Therefore, you can't hear him coming, unless he laughs. Then, I mean, yeah, I guess you would hear him. He's also able to fly for a short amount of time, and you get a speed boost when you do. The mobility lets you set up for some pretty cool things. Combine this with the quietness of Tails doll, and it's easy to be thrown off guard. After landing, you can place down a trap, which admittedly can be hard to use with how fast survivors are and how quick they can get out of things. Tails doll places down a red ring. It lasts for 7 seconds and deals damage when you're standing in it. Like I said, Sonic characters are generally pretty fast. Though, if you're playing a game mode like Double Trouble, where you can have 2 EXEs, combine this with Colossus's grab ability, and you're killing at least one person. Then laugh at them, even though that's completely unfair to that one person. He has another ability that just slashes at someone. It's like his normal attack, but instead it makes a survivor unable to jump, drains their health, and halves their movement speed. It's a pretty effective tool to use, but the survivor is able to mash space, which allows him to get out of it. Like the others, he also has an indicator. This is one of the more popular inclusions for Tails doll, and he's fun to play, so if you like killers that can deal damage over time and have a bit of mobility, this guy is for you. Aside from that, I would say that's it for his toolkit. To my knowledge, nothing has changed. Now, on to the survivors. New survivors are going to be added to the game, those being Vector, SBO, and Charmy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited to see Charmy frickin' be in this game because, one, I have never seen him in a horror story. Where the hell is Charmy.EXE, guys? And two, what the hell does he even do? In the old game, Charmy was going to have bounce pads that he placed down and other people could jump on, though that's not confirmed in this case. It's really just speculation as to what all of them will do, but I am excited to see it. I also want to note that each one of those survivors may have milestone skins, where the more you play the game, the more you unlock skins. And the same goes for the killers, and I'm really excited to see them in-game. But for now, let's go on to the survivors already in the game, starting with Tails. Tails has 2 abilities, Glide and his trusty arm cannon. Glide allows Tails to use his tails and glide. Yeah, I think you guys could figure that out. He can also fly by pressing a key, but that does drain his flight energy. Arm cannon. It's a long-range weapon that can stun the enemy, and when shooting, the cannon has around 0.2 seconds of delay to shoot anywhere else. Tails is a fairly easy character to pick up, but his arm cannon can be hard to use properly sometimes, so it'll take some practice to nail it. Future abilities could include stuff like him carrying other survivors to make him more of a support class, but for now, that is all he's got. I find Tails to be a safe, simple option since the abilities are easy to pick up, And if you prefer to defend at a distance, this is definitely a good start. All right, so in the last video, I made a mistake. I said Knuckles wasn't very good, but this apparently had a ton of people upset. So to all of you Knuckle mains out there, I'm not sorry. His punch is ass. And if you disagree, you're wrong. It's a short-range stun. Just play Amy. Just kidding. The cooldown is pretty good and it comes out pretty quick. Better hope Colossus isn't blocking though. If that happens, Knuckles has his own block ability. If you land the block, both the EXE and Knuckles are knocked back. Special attacks cause greater knockback, so make sure you time your abilities right with him. Knuckles has a bit of a learning curve because he relies on knowing what the EXE will do, or at least spamming punch until you get lucky and land a hit. Overall, a fun opposite to Tails, who mostly sits back and supports from the back lines. I am the Eggman! It's what I am. Sorry, for some reason that song has been stuck in my head. Eggman's got 3 things in his toolkit that are pretty unique. Personally, I would have loved for him to spawn one of his many Eggbots or mechs, but alas. He has a Zapper, a Jetpack, and a Turret. Zapper has no shooting delay, though it does take a minute to charge up. It's a close-ranged ability, and it will slow down the EXE. Now, for all of you who love to stun the spooky creatures, this only slows them down for a few seconds. Jetpack is a charge-up ability that allows you to control which way you'd like to go. Less charge sends him higher, and more will send him further. This can be good for breaking the EXE's ankles, and it's a 50-50 sometimes. You could also use this to quickly leave if you need to. Turret allows you to solve this whole EXE problem with the only solution Americans know. Place this bad boy down, and you can slow down the evildoers. The turrets don't stack the slowness effect, but it does help. Eggman is a great inclusion in this game, and I can see the appeal of the character. He's got mobility. It is great for just making the EXE slower. Very cool. Amy is up next, and she's got quite the arsenal. Nothing says women power like a hammer slamming into your face. Her abilities all revolve around her Pico Pico hammer. The hammer standard attack is a stun move up close, but has a bigger hitbox than Knuckles' punch. She also has a hammer spin that pushes back any enemy nearby, but she does move slower. But if getting close to the EXE isn't your style, then try throwing your hammer. You might be able to snipe the EXE, but it does disable any of her other abilities, only leaving her with a roll. This is good for dodging, and I can imagine it'd be pretty clutch if Amy threw her hammer at the EXE, then rolled towards the ring and won. Also, I tried in this game to throw my hammer outside of the map, and as it would turn out, they actually patched it. You cannot throw your hammer outside of the map. Blessed be. Now I won't be punished for my terrible aim. In my opinion, Amy is pretty good. And until Knuckles spins around like a ballerina or gets Rocket Fist, I'm afraid to say I'd rather just play Amy. Sorry, Knuckles mains. I'm afraid I'm just too much of a skill issue to join your ranks. Next up, we have Cream. Yes, the only healer in this game. With her ability Overheal, she can give temporal health to a teammate and will heal herself while doing this. She can't move and her location will be revealed, which I don't remember if that's new or not, but now you gotta be careful using this ability. You'll have to rely on your teammates to save you, or you can use one of my personal favorites, Speed Boost. I kid you not, Speed Boost is one of the reasons why I play this character. What can I say? I like to go fast. You can combine this after being hit and you are gone. It's also useful to use when you're healing someone, as you'll do this little heal dash, and can be effective for dodging. Cream is a simple healer, but can be a lot of fun to play just from her speed boost alone. I don't recommend just using that though, because being the healer, the only healer, well, your team might be a little confused as to why you're not using her most important ability, arguably. And to them I say, whee! Look at me go! Sally Acorn. She's got a shield, can share her shield, and can switch shields. She's a support character through and through. Tired of those pesky EXE attacks? Well, just block it, you silly goose. Tired of your friends dying? Choose the friend you value the most and give them a shield. Or if Cream is in game, give it to her. We have to protect her, alright? Each shield has different effect depending on what you switch it to. Water shield allows players to do a fun little bounce, fire allows players to dash forwards, and regular shield will give invincibility and a speed boost once broken. Each shield can be good depending on the situation, but I recommend the water shield because it's really fun to use. Whee! Everyone's favorite edgy hedgehog joins the cast of survivors, having two abilities that are good in the right hand. Shadow has his homing attack, but it doesn't really have a lock on. Instead, you have to go in the direction of the EXE, or if you're trying to run away, you can use it for that reason too. He also has a boost that pushes him forward, and if you press the button again, he'll slam down and push back any EXEs that come into contact with this. He's simple, but he's one of the people I use the most. I also just like the character, so that's mostly why I use him. Continuing with Team Dark, we have Roos the Bat. She has one of the most versatile sets in the game, but maybe the hardest character to use in my opinion. She has sensors she can place that shows where EXEs are if they step on them, and they stay around for around 12 seconds. She has a slide that gives her iframes during it, a flashbang that blinds the EXE for 3 seconds. This can be pretty disorienting when you're playing the bad guy, but it's a good clutch move as long as you're not standing near him when it goes off. Her last ability is Remote Trap, kind of like Tailsaw, but Rouge can detonate it remotely at any time and blur the screen of any EXEs nearby. It sounds cool, but can be pretty hard to execute unless you know what you're doing. You have to plan out your attacks, and I think that's why she's the hardest to master. You'll combine her abilities and hope for the best, but she can be fun. You know who's not fun? This guy sucks. I mean, he's really good, but he's a damn nuisance if we're playing as an EXE. There are so many Metal Sonic mains, and, you know, for good reason. This guy has a grapple hook. It's close range to the EXE. Grabbed by it will be pulled towards Metal Sonic. You can do a few things with this. If you time it right, you can fling the EXE, or at least you used to be able to. I don't know if you can do it now. Or you could activate his push ability when you do this. Sure, it can be hard to land, but it's pretty easy to get the hang of. Just point it into the EXE's direction, and if you land it, take them for a ride. Push grabs your opponent, makes him invincible, collides with the EXE, and pushes the EXE back for a good while. This guy is so annoying to deal with. Him and his he makes me so mad! If you play this character, you're more of a monster than any EXE main. And in case he wasn't annoying enough, he can self-destruct. God, this guy can't even die without being a nuisance. Silver. The EXEs will realize that it's no use because he has 3 abilities that are pretty good. Speed Radius allows him and everyone around him to get a speed boost. The closer you are to Silver, the faster you go. There's a lot of ways you can mix this in with the others' abilities, and he's a pretty good support character. He has an orb that will travel in a straight line, and if it collides with an EXE, it will stun them. And if there's more than one EXE, either Double Trouble or the demonized characters, there's a small area of effect so it can stun multiple people. Silver can also make barriers depending on where he's facing. Other survivors can walk through the barrier, but EXEs can't. It only lasts around 3 seconds, so make it count. Silver has a great mix of offense and defense, so if you like a bit of both, this is your guy. And that's it for the survivors. No one else. Just kidding, she's in the video! My audience and I have an inside joke because in my Roblox games video, I talked about the original The Disaster, and in it, I didn't talk about Blaze at all. And you know what's crazy? Since then, I think she's my favorite character to play as. Sure, I play as Cream and Shadow, but honestly, I would consider Blaze my main. She has Heat Wave that will launch a wave of fire towards EXEs, and it pulls them in. My favorite ability is Fire Tornado. Think Amy's hammer, but better. Blaze spins around for 3 seconds, pushing away any EXE she runs into. The catch here is, if you hit them multiple times, it will continuously push them back. The move is incredibly fun to use and feels good to control. So, to all of my Blaze fans, I am sorry. She's one of my favorite characters. And that's it for the survivors. The Disaster Reborn is a faithful remake to the original, with more updates on the way to mix up the gameplay. A lot of models were updated to fit this game, and I really appreciate how good they look too. They have a fan art section in the lobby that showcases some really cool art and is Is that fucking Skibbity toilet in the corner? Why is there Skibbity toilet stuff? A huge shout out to Devilish for getting me early access stuff and the rest of the development team for putting your passion into this project. I know it's been a stressful journey, but on behalf of the EXE community, I am grateful to have this game back and for your hard work. And of course, Outlake, I can never say your name right. I apologize. Thank you for giving this to us and working on it for all the years that you did. I'm excited to see what they add to the game, all the new stuff they're adding, and I really hope that it's able to stay up and that they don't have any sort of issues. I'll be sure to come back and visit this game every once in a while and maybe play with my viewers, so look out for that. Thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for the next video as a certain clock makes its return. Subscribe and remember, stay freaky.